here today with my friend and former colleague, Lin Sensenig. Lin is the president and COO of Houck. Can you tell us a little bit about Houck?
Houck is a diversified specialty contractor, about 230 employees, get about a 2-hour radius of Harrisburg, and I've been in business since right after World War II, 1945.
Wow.
So,
Wow, 45.
yeah.
And that was Gary Houck's father who had started the business.
Correct, yeah. Gary Houck's father, Lawrence Houck, started the business and started as a small union masonry operation, and Gary kind of took over the business in the 70s and really grew it substantially from there.
Oh, wow.
So, Gary is the head cheerleader of Houck.
He has an interesting title.
He does have an interesting...
And that's the formal title.
For an interesting man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, and Gary has kind of turned over the day-to-day operations of the business to me, but he's still a vital part of the business. So.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we're talking a little bit this year about competitive advantage. And within our discussions on competitive advantage, we focus in on culture, people, and then really what you do, which you alluded to at the beginning of the segment here. But could you talk to us about your competitive advantage first as it relates to your culture?
Sure, absolutely. So, Roger North, who helps Houck in facilitators, our advisory board, really kind of helped us codify that culture at Houck more recently. And it's simple, which I love simplicity. It's basically that we act with honor, with humility, and with humor.
3 H's.
3 H's.
Nice and alliterative. Very simple, easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Honor, humility, humor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really, I would say, it's Gary Houck's persona, that it mirrors.
Oh, sure.
So the honor piece is how we treat our employees and our vendors and our business partners and very importantly our customers. The humility piece is just a focus on team. We recognize everyone's individual, contributions, and there's no one person more important than the other in our group. And the humor piece is just part of Gary. So if you know Gary, you'd understand the humor piece.
I imagine there's a healthy amount of laughing that happens inside of the walls of Houck.
Lots.
Yeah. Now, I appreciate knowing Gary. We all do. Everybody benefits from knowing Gary, and certainly we could see how the culture has been implied and is modeled after him and his persona for years now.
Yeah.
I mean, if the 70s is when he came in, we're looking at a long tenure of leadership there.
Correct.
And we can see how it can also be helpful to put pen to paper and make sure everyone knows this is who we are and this is how you become part of this team.
Well, I think one of the interesting aspects of that is that, as we look at transition and leadership and all those types of things and developing this next level of leadership, is how do we mimic what the success that we've had? And part of that is documentation, making sure that we understand, that we codify it, that we write it down, that we remember that 20 and 30 years from now, this is how this business acts. And that's truly sustainable if you do it that way. So.
Well, you talked to us, particularly in the humility piece, you talked about teams. So from the competitive advantage perspective, tell us a little bit about the folks.
Sure, yeah. So we have 4 distinct different divisions within the group, and those 4 distinctive divisions would have at times, I think, struggled with some competitiveness between them. We would, for instance, have one particular customer that was fond of our masonry division, but not as fond of our roofing division, and those types of things. There is a cohesiveness among the leadership team now that is really, really almost completely eliminated that. So,
wow. And
North Group is a big part of helping us get there.
Good.
On that piece.
Yeah.
So.
How about with what you do? What's the competitive advantage relative to what it is that is Houck's bread and butter?
I think from from an advantage standpoint, I would say the fact that we're so highly diversified is helpful for us. And when we look at, kind of recession-proofing the business, that's a big piece for us. We want to continue to focus on new markets and new areas, maybe acquisition-related, all those types of things are part of that focus as we look how to position the company best in the future.
So from the top, and just a quick synopsis, a culture of honor, humility, and humor. We have people there who've been there a long time in many cases, being led by a now cohesive leadership team, in no small part due to this codification that you discussed. And the outpouring of that likely is some unified strategy as you continue to diversify inside of your marketplace.
No question. And I would just reiterate something Roger North says all the time, and that is that culture trumps strategy all day long. So we certainly do strategic planning, but our big focus is on leadership development.
Starts back at the culture.
It does.
It's a phenomenal organization. Lin, thanks so much for having this
No,
conversation.
thank you.
It's great to be with you again.
Awesome.